Hi everyone, I'm Emma, 32 years old, and I've got a story that might hit close to home for some of you. I always believed that family was everything. My grandmother, Margaret, was the glue that held our family together. She was this tiny woman with the biggest heart you could imagine. I spent countless weekends at her house, baking cookies and listening to her stories about the good old days. Emma, dear, she'd say, her eyes twinkling, family is like a patchwork quilt. Each piece may be different, but together they make something beautiful. Those words stuck with me, shaping my views on family and forgiveness. Even when my cousins, Jack and Sarah, would tease me relentlessly during family gatherings, I'd remind myself, asterisk their family. They don't really mean any harm, asterisk. One Thanksgiving stands out in particular. I was around 15, and Jack had just knocked over my science project that I'd brought to show Grandma. As I fought back tears, trying to salvage what I could, Grandma pulled me aside. Emma, I know you're upset, and you have every right to be. But remember, forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior. It's about freeing yourself from anger. Can you do that, sweetie? I nodded, not fully understanding then, but trusting her wisdom. Over the years, I often turned to Grandma Margaret for advice. She had a way of seeing the best in people, even when they were at their worst. As I grew older, my bond with Grandma only deepened. I'd visit her every week, helping her with groceries or just sitting together, chatting over a cup of tea. My cousins, on the other hand, only showed up for holidays or when they needed something. Where are Jack and Sarah? I'd ask, noticing their absence. Grandma would just smile softly. Oh, you know how busy young people are these days, but you're here, and that's what matters. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of resentment toward them. Couldn't they see how much their visits meant to Grandma? But I pushed those feelings aside, reminding myself of Grandma's lessons about forgiveness and understanding. As the years passed, I watched Grandma Margaret's vibrant energy slowly fade. Her hands shook when she poured tea, and her stories became more repetitive. But her love for her family never wavered. One day, I noticed a stack of papers on her coffee table. What's this, Grandma? I asked, curious. Oh, just some boring legal stuff, dear. Nothing for you to worry about, she replied, quickly changing the subject. Little did I know then how important those papers would become. As her health declined, I found myself spending more and more time at her house, cooking meals, helping with her medication, and just keeping her company. Jack and Sarah, meanwhile, were nowhere to be found. One evening, as I was helping Grandma into bed, she held my hand tightly. Emma, my dear, she said, her voice weak but full of love. I want you to know how proud I am of you. You have such a big heart, just like I always hoped you would. Tears welled up in my eyes. I learned from the best, Grandma, I replied, hugging her gently. That night, as I left, I couldn't shake the feeling that our time together was coming to an end. But I held on to hope, believing in the strength of family and the power of love to overcome any obstacle. Little did I know, a true test of those beliefs was just around the corner. The call came at 3 a.m. Grandma Margaret had passed away peacefully in her sleep. My world shattered. Through tears, I managed to ask about the funeral arrangements. Oh, don't worry about that. Jack's voice came through, oddly cheerful. Sarah and I have it all under control. Something felt off, but grief clouded my judgment. It wasn't until 2 days later, when I called to offer help, that the truth hit me like a truck. The funeral's today, Emma, Sarah said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. Didn't you get the invitation? I hadn't. They'd excluded me entirely. Rushing to the funeral home, I arrived just as the service was ending. Faces turned, whispers erupted. I caught snippets of cruel remarks. Asterisk gold digger, asterisk, asterisk, only wanted the inheritance, asterisk, asterisk, took advantage of poor Margaret, asterisk. Jack approached, his face a mask of concern. Emma, we thought it best you didn't come, Jack said, his voice dripping with false sympathy. People are talking, you know, about how you manipulated Grandma in her final days. I stared at him, unable to believe what I was hearing. What are you talking about? I was there for her. I took care of her. Sure you were, Sarah chimed in, her voice cold. Right up until you got what you wanted. Confused and deeply hurt, I left the funeral home in a daze. How could they think that? I'd been there for Grandma when they weren't. Before I could process it all, my phone rang again. This time it was Mr. Thompson, Grandma's lawyer. Emma, I need to see you in my office. It's about Margaret's will. An hour later, I sat across from Mr. Thompson, a kind-faced man in his 60s. He slid a document across the desk toward me. Margaret left everything to you, Emma, the house, her savings, everything. I stared at him, the words barely registering. But why? I mean, why me? She trusted you, he said gently. She knew you were the only one who truly cared about her, not her money. As the reality sank in, so did the weight of Jack and Sarah's betrayal. They hadn't just excluded me from the funeral. They tried to twist Grandma's final days to make me look like the villain. I left Mr. Thompson's office in a fog, my phone buzzing with a message from my best friend, Lily. I heard what happened. Come over. You shouldn't be alone right now. Sitting in Lily's cozy apartment later that evening, the full impact of the day hit me. Between sobs, I told her everything. Those snakes, Lily exclaimed, furious. You can't let them get away with this. I don't know what to do, I whispered. I always thought family meant something to them too. Lily took my hand, her eyes fierce with loyalty. Then we'll figure it out together. Your grandma trusted you for a reason. Don't let her down now. As the shock wore off, a new emotion took its place. Determination. Jack and Sarah had shown their true colors, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't inclined to forgive and forget. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of grief, anger, and discovery. With Lily's help, I started digging into Jack and Sarah's behavior. One evening, Lily called me over to her laptop. Look at this, she said, pointing to the screen. It was a bank statement from Grandma's account, showing regular transfers to both Jack and Sarah over the years. I leaned in, frowning, but Grandma always said she treated us all equally. She wouldn't play favorites like this. As we dug deeper, a pattern emerged. Jack and Sarah had been manipulating Grandma, slowly isolating her from the rest of the family while siphoning money from her accounts. I couldn't believe it. How could they do this to her? I muttered, anger boiling inside me. Just then, my phone rang. It was Mr. Thompson again. Emma, I'm afraid we have a problem. Jack and Sarah are contesting a will. My heart sank. On what grounds? They're claiming you coerced Margaret in her final days. It's baseless, but it could tie things up in court for months. I thanked him and hung up, my mind racing. That's when I remembered the stack of papers I'd seen at Grandma's house. Lily, we need to go to Grandma's place. Now. At the house, we searched until we found what I was looking for, a journal hidden in Grandma's bedside table. As I flipped through the pages, my suspicions were confirmed. Grandma had documented everything, Jack and Sarah's visits, their constant requests for money, and even their attempts to turn her against me. This is it, Lily said, her eyes wide. This proves everything. Armed with the journal and the financial records, I knew it was time to confront Jack and Sarah. I called a family meeting at Grandma's house. When they arrived, their faces were plastered with fake concern. Emma, darling, Sarah cooed, we've been so worried about you. I didn't waste time. Drop the act. I know what you've been doing, the money, the lies, all of it. Their expressions shifted instantly. Jack's face twisted in anger. You don't know anything. We took care of Grandma when you were too busy living your own life. Really? I shot back, pulling out Grandma's journal, because Grandma's records tell a very different story. As I laid out the evidence, their facades crumbled. Sarah burst into tears, while Jack's face turned an ugly shade of red. We're family, Sarah whimpered. Can't we just forget about all this? For a moment, I wavered. But then I remembered Grandma's words. Forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior. It's about freeing yourself from anger. No, I said firmly. What you did was unforgivable. You betrayed not just me, but Grandma's trust. I won't let you tarnish her memory or take what she wanted to leave behind. As Jack and Sarah stormed out, hurling insults and threats, I felt an unexpected weight lift off my shoulders. For the first time, I saw them for who they truly were, and I knew that standing up to them had been the right decision. In the months that followed, I focused on honoring Grandma Margaret's legacy. With Mr. Thompson's help, I navigated every legal challenge Jack and Sarah threw my way. Each one crumbled against the solid evidence we had gathered. As executor of her will, I made sure every one of Grandma's wishes was carried out exactly as she intended. The heirlooms she had carefully selected for each family member were delivered, along with personal notes explaining their significance. Watching them receive these precious mementos brought a bittersweet kind of joy, knowing that Grandma's love would continue to touch their lives. But the biggest part of Grandma's legacy was still to come. With the bulk of the inheritance, I established the Margaret Foundation, a charity dedicated to supporting elderly individuals who lacked family support. People like Grandma, who had so much love to give, but not enough people willing to receive it. At the charity's launch event, I stood before a crowd of supporters and local media. My grandmother always said that family is about more than just blood. I began. It's about love, support, and showing up for each other. This foundation aims to be that family for those who need it most. As I spoke, I caught a glimpse of Jack and Sarah skulking in the back of the room. Word of their betrayal had spread, and the rest of the family had all but ostracized them. I'd even heard that Jack had lost his job over embezzlement charges, while Sarah's social circle had shrunk significantly as people learned about her duplicity. A part of me felt a twinge of sadness for them, but I quickly pushed it aside. They had made their choices, and now they were facing the consequences. After the event, Lily pulled me into a warm hug. Grandma Margaret would be so proud of you, Em. You've turned something awful into something beautiful. I smiled, a deep sense of peace finally settling over me, something I hadn't felt since Grandma passed. I just hope I'm living up to her example, I said softly. As weeks turned into months, the Margaret Foundation flourished. We opened a community center that provided meals, social activities, and support services for the elderly. Every time I walked through its doors, I felt Grandma's presence, her warmth, her unwavering belief in the power of family, and her love for bringing people together. One afternoon, as I was leaving the center, I ran into Mr. Thompson. He smiled at me, eyes twinkling. Emma, I've got some news you might find interesting. He explained that Jack and Sarah had tried to start their own rival charity, hoping to salvage their reputations, but their past actions had caught up with them. No one was willing to donate or support their cause. Karma, Lily said with a smirk when I told her the news later. They're finally getting what they deserve. I nodded, feeling a mix of emotions. You know, I used to think forgiveness meant letting people walk all over you, I said thoughtfully. But now I realize it's about finding peace for yourself. It doesn't mean excusing what others have done. You're not letting them back into your life, are you? Lily asked, concerned. I shook my head. No, I've forgiven them in my heart, for my own peace. But I've also learned the importance of boundaries. They made their choices, and I've made mine. That evening, as I looked out over the city, a deep sense of gratitude washed over me. Grandma Margaret had taught me about the power of family, but life had shown me that sometimes family is what you make it. The story may have ended, but the conversation doesn't have to. What would you do if you were in Emma's shoes? Could you forgive Jack and Sarah, or would their betrayal be too much to overlook? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories like this. Your support means everything to me and helps keep these stories coming. Thank you for watching.